Well, hello there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the secret, not so secret history living in all of our aquariums, our United Aquariums of America. Misfits, reptiles, and aquatics, thank you so much. We've started this evening with a lovely $2.50 super chat. That is very super duper duper. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I like to see all these lovely people in here. We got Aquarium Cop. I am so glad that Aquarium Cop is here. So glad that you're here, brother. Mridule, so glad you're here. So glad. Muppet, Scuzzy, that's a new one, I think. But welcome. Like to see that. Fish and Floral, so good. How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still a little haggard, a little merled haggard, if you will. But I figured, at first I was like, am I gonna do a live stream today? Are we doing that? Is that how this is gonna go? I guess it's Tuesday, right? Tuesday at 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on the week. I know I'm pacing. Sorry, got some nervous energy, but this is about, we're gonna just do a laid back live stream because that one the other night, it was so structured when I had that fever clearly still. I went back and just watched a piece of it. A couple of people really requested I leave it up and that I watch it when I felt better and see that I was being kind of a butt, to put it lightly. So yeah, I was being a little bit of a butt. So sorry if I offended anybody, kinda. Fishymon, what's up? Jalen I, what's up? Craig, Christy, fake name. Oh, we got so many good people in here tonight. Abigail, Pete, Spirulina, Tiffany, Christy, Drench. Oh, great. This is just great. Yeah. All right. Well, so I always like to kill a little bit of time before, things get off to a good start in here. And can you guys see how light's coming in right now? It's really cool. The winter sun is coming through, but there's certain beams where my wife's Halloween decorations are like whipping in the wind out there on the balcony, and it looks pretty sweet. Von Lurker, hello. What's funny is like most people who I know are members don't have a name on my or don't have their little symbol on my stream. Very interesting. Well, so what are we going to talk about today, Peppy? Peppy? Where are you, Peppy? Peppy? Oh, there you are. Oh, I thought I'd lost you for a moment. Peppy and I want to talk to you today really quickly. We're not going to talk politics. What we are going to talk about is the I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say it with too much importance. But I would highly, 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 Selassie, recommend that you guys turn off social media. YouTube's fine, right? I mean, YouTube talks at you. Just let's turn it all off tonight. Let's not say anything like stupid or mean or divisive. That would be a big accomplishment. My wife and I looked at each other this morning and we were like, you know what? We live in Seattle. It's a city that very likely, no matter which outcome there is, we have a lot of people that are so liberal or left wing that they think that Biden is still a Republican. And then we have a lot of people who are mainstream Democrat. That's the bulk of people here. Who are just living their life, and then we out in the suburbs of the city, we have a good amount of Republican mainstream folks who are just living their lives. A lot of them don't like Trump in our state. They think that he's not religious enough or blue collar enough, so to speak. But regardless, because of those dynamics, Seattle, we're gonna get busted windows and stuff tonight. So we are really just going to let's just try to dial back things as living in a place that kind of gets rowdy. I want to extend a hand to my neighborhood, to your neighborhoods, if you're in the United States. Let's look at our tanks. Let's take a breath, make a nice dinner, order out something, maybe support the local community, local small businesses if you can, and watch a movie, watch some fish too. But I want to encourage you guys all to spend an hour tonight before bed, an hour watching your fish tanks and just thinking about the world from the point of view of your fish. Just relaxing. Try to forget about the world for a while. We're not going to know what's what for a little while anyways. I mean, till 2 a.m. at earliest East Coast time, I'm sure. Even if you do want to know all that stuff, it doesn't do any good waiting for each state to roll in and freaking out each time. So, I don't know. I just highly recommend that if it's had you on edge, unplug for a little bit, okay? All right? You'll have 4 years to deal with whatever occurs. So that's all I wanted to say before we get into some fishy business. I'm a weirdo, and while we have people filtering in, usually that 10-minute mark is where we like to start doing our thing. And hey here, fishy, how's it going? Chalupas, how's it going? Ziphophorius, hello. Yeah, so that's my little soapbox speech. Now I'm getting down off of that soapbox, so it's hard on my knees. But I want to sing y'all a little song, maybe gather around the campfire. This is where I'm going to watch the number of people in the chat disappear for about 2 minutes, and then it'll go back up. But I just felt like I needed to sing y'all a little song that was written about 70 years ago and covered by someone. I posted the song. I'm not a good singer, but I just want the words. I just want to share the words with y'all because I feel them right now. And then we'll get to the fish stuff because I'm a weirdo. And it's my live stream. So that's what we're going to do. All right, guys? Well, the people in the city, they call me country because of how I walk and talk and smile. Well, I don't mind them laughing in the city, but the country folks, they say I'm city-fied. The fighting men, they say that I am a coward because I never push nobody around. Gentle people that call me troublemaker, 'cause I was taught to fight and stand my ground. Well, that's funny, 'cause I don't fit. Where have all the average people gone? Some people call me a sinner. The pious people say I sin a lot, because to them I've never seen the light. Other folks think of me as a preacher. I'm just doing what I think is right. Well, it's funny I don't fit. Where have all the average people gone? And the wealthy people that think that we are hobos, lean and hungry, writing mournful songs. And the poor people think that I'm a rich man, because I'm just trying to get along. Yes, it's funny I don't fit. Where have all the average people gone? It's funny how I fit. Where have all the average people gone? And the government, they given us a number to simplify our lives and births and deaths. And still my lover thinks that I am important, like sun and moon and sea and sky and breath. Well, let's just unplug and think about all the fishy fish, 'cause it's funny I don't fit. Where have all the fishy people gone? Well, it's funny we don't fit. We're just fishy people trying to get along. Okay. All right, I'm done. That's all I had to say. But what's going on, guys? How is it? How is it? It being life. Do we have any? Do we have any? That was, by the way, that song was made famous by Roger Miller. I could have played it, but I would have gotten a copyright strike, and then if I got another in trouble, I would have banned my channel forever. Any case, yeah. So I would say that I don't know. I like that song. It talked about kind of the middle path. I think we need to remember we're all just people. We're all just trying to get by in the world. We're all here for one reason, and that's because we're bored, or trying to escape. No, it's because we like fish. Oh, that's right, we like fish. That's it. Jen, you got a $4.99 super chat. That's the most I've ever gotten paid after singing, other than people saying, "Here's $10, get out of here." I will give you $10 to get out of here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's very nice. All right, guys. Well, what questions? What can I help you with? What can I do you for? I mean, I can start talking about all sorts of things if you want me to go, but I take it you'd rather direct what we do, guys. We got some questions because diversion is the goal, huh? Yeah, well, I got some diversion for you. You know, this duckweed is driving me nuts. I still can't lift anything. My broken ribs, like, they totally don't hurt anymore unless I lift anything. Second I lift something more than like 10 pounds, it's just extreme pain again. So I haven't been able to keep up on my weekly to maybe, it's actually more like every 5 days. My Mayaka is going absolutely berserk in my tank. Onion plants are the dumbest plant I've ever had. Just wanted to tell you guys that. Look at this. That is totally worth $4.99. It's just a straight up spike. Very cool. I've grown them in the past and they sucked, and I bought them again because I'm a sucker, I guess. But yeah, what a lame plant. Oh, you need some information on Loganandra, huh? On me Boldi? What are we talking about here? Yeah, Jack says, I'm keeping mine just because. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this one at this point. I'm keeping it because I don't know what else to do with it. I mean, I could kill it, but that seems rather vindictive now that I've stated that I dislike it. So I've got a Loganandra me Boldi here that is the traditional kind of green, and it's got like a little bit of a pink to it, and you got a pink or purple underside. That's your standard wild Loganandra out of India. Then you got Loganandra carolensis, which is down here. It looks powdered. That's not diatom algae on it, and it's got pink sides, and it's a smaller plant, smaller stature. I like that one too. But then my favorite Loganandra, Mr. Ed, can we see it? Can you dig it? Is this one right here. One that kind of looks like a pothos leaf. It looks like a watermelon. That's called silver dust or silver powder. I've heard it called a lot of things, but usually silver powder or powder silver is what it goes by. And that one is just a beautiful plant. I can thank Alan Bauer for that one. But Loganandra me Boldi, same exact plant as the other ones we were looking at. But it's really metallic. Like, it just glistens with a full-on, like it has glitter on it. Like, way stronger than a bucephalandra. And then we've got the other rare one in the tank, which is just getting battered right now, and this is the German red or German pink, however you want to call it. But I got to talk to Crystal Kesselman because look at this. I don't know if you guys can see the color change going on here. The colors are so muted when I'm doing a live stream. It drives me nuts. But this thing looks like a mood ring or something when I'm looking at it in real life. It's got the red underside, but then the top goes from pink and orange and actually like a really nice dark red to yellow and green. And it's like every color of the rainbow on this leaf in different light. And if you look at it up close, it's got the metallic speckles. But my silly, stupid fish, I mean, so what happened is blackbeard algae's been growing on this stuff pretty tough. It tends to do that because these leaves last like 3 to 5 months, sometimes, if they're happy and if they're not growing too fast or too slow, they'll last a really long time, kind of like Anubias leaves. And they'll get growths like that on them, and then you're like, well, shoot, what do I do? And they get the growth on it, and if you have a pleco or anything else like that it eats that has a strong enough mouth, plecos don't usually like blackbeard algae, but lately I've been in this tank not feeding for up to 3 days at a time, just because I want them to eat the algae anywhere possible. All the guppies, all the little cories. There are so many fish in here, and the undergrowth's getting out of control. But I want them to eat that. But when they do that, they rip apart. Some of the fish have such strong little suction mouths. In particular, I didn't know that the cribs would ever eat blackbeard algae. I've never seen them do that. But they were actually on here eating it, and they just ripped big old holes on it. These guys did. So go figure. I don't know. I like the cribs too much to tell them they're evicted. But yeah. So, and then there's the Siamese reticulated algae eater back there with the diamond on its tail. That guy actually rips at it pretty badly too. The gourami rips at things pretty badly, but doesn't really like the algae that much. But I've just seen him rip fins on other fish and plants, and yeah. And then back here we've got a yellow. If you can see that, I just put my sleeve in the tank. Good job, Alex. We've got a yellow Lagonandra, which is a new, or not Lagonandra, sorry guys, a yellow Ludwigia, which was a new one, kind of new. I found it in the tank. It was actually under all the stuff growing back there, and I totally had forgotten that when I bought the Red Star Ludwigia from Aquatic Arts, I bought that they had for a very short time yellow or golden Ludwigia, which is really pretty. It's really nice. I like that one. Let's see here. Novice Aquarius, what's going on? Jalen says, I ordered male scarlet batis from a farm online for my females in my 75-gallon planted, but they sent me batis. I still enjoy them, but is there crossbreeding that could occur? Wait. They sent you batis? Interesting. You ordered scarlet batis. Let me think real quick. My mind is batis are the blue ones, right? I think they're the blue ones. Yeah, they got to be the blue ones. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had them mix. I've had the blue ones and the Malaysian ones mixed together, the red or the black and red tiger batis with the blue batis. I've also had the red-headed or pink or rose, it has 3 different names, batis, cross with the scarlet and also with the tiger. So there is some overlap, but I don't know. The scarlets, I don't think I've had them cross with the blues ever. I don't think I've seen that ever. So you're probably okay. What's more is that if you have any number of them, they're going to eat their babies. They're heavy predators. You have to kind of intentionally be breeding batis. I mean, in a 75-gallon, you might not. If they're the only ones in there, I'm sure. Like if I put them in a tank like this, you'd have a bunch of them very quickly. But I mean, batis are very interesting fish. The more I keep them, the less I know. I mean, I thought that I understood their breeding habits and everything about them. after my fourth season of spawning them, and I just realized that I don't know anything about them. I've had their eggs in a tank where it had to have been in. They had to have been in there for at least uh, at least 4 months before they hatched, and they were delayed, or the fry just were completely stunted. I don't know what happened, and hid exquisitely from me. And then I've also had them hatch in like a matter of like 6 or 7 days, and the parents eat them. I've had them have 50 babies, and I've had them have just a few. Deborah just became a lurker. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everyone joining the channel. I'm happy to let you know that I just spoke with Aquatic Arts. If you're new here, you might need to hear the little spiel, but if not, you know that for years now, Aquatic Arts and we've been friends. I really like the way they do things. They give a lot away to charity, to the Humane Society, to the battered women and children on the streets charity called Mary's Place. And they also do a lot of pet adoption stuff with cats and dogs and spaying and neutering. And then they do a ton of in fact, if you adopt a pet, like half the year on their website, look for the offer. It's not always advertised brightly, but if you adopt a pet from the Humane Society, you can send them a picture of the certificate you got, and they'll give you a $50 gift certificate to buy fish with as a thank you. I mean, that's crazy. How does that benefit them? It doesn't. It's just a thank you for, being a good person and helping out some animals in need. So they really do care about animals. They really are trying to mostly source bred in America fish, and they've acquired more space again. So they are focusing on nano fish. They have a 400,000 foot warehouse space coming into being built out right now with ponds and things, so they can kind of be like the next cichlid exchange or wet spot in Portland and Oregon, which the wet spot's great for oddball things. It's also known as the cichlid exchange, if you didn't know that they're both the same thing. But they're a great group of folks. I've supported Aquatic Arts since there were 6 employees. Now I think there's dozens. And they give their employees benefits. They hire actual ichthyologists and students who are studying fish and fisheries and things like that in Indiana, in the Indianapolis area. So I really do like them, and all around, they always have very high quality fish and the best customer service I've ever encountered online. But yeah, so that being said, I just wanted to kind of give the little nod to them. There's always a discount code of up to 15% off if you haven't used it before. Secret History, all in caps, and then 15 for 15. Secret History 15, all caps, no spaces, and that always works. The 10% always works. 15's for your first time, but we're going to be giving away, because whenever you guys buy something with those codes, using those discount codes, you then get entered into the drawing for what I'm giving away at the next giveaway. Well, the next giveaway, I just talked with them, and it sounds like it's going to be, we're going to aim for kind of that Cyber Monday, that post-Thanksgiving time slot. And in years past, we've done it in December, and the problem is, like, for Christmas, we really have like hit some bad weather and can't deliver sometimes fish and shrimp to like Minnesota and North Dakota, places like that. And it's just a bummer when you're expecting that for Christmas, or maybe you bought it for somebody. So we're gonna try to do that a little earlier this year, I think. But we'll find out and see how many things they're gonna give away. But I'm hoping we'll have a couple $100, maybe. I mean, last year it was over $1,000, so it was actually over 2,000 with all the free shipping, because they gave out free shipping to 20 people. And then they gave out $100 gift cards to a few people, $250 shrimp package. So I don't know. We'll see. I know it's been kind of a crazy year for all the stores and places, and their selection has kind of gone up and down. But they've been buying from local breeders. So if you sell fish in abundance, definitely talk to them. If you've got quality fish cranking out at, a consistent, at least once every 3 months, say, you can promise X amount of the fish, or more often is even better. They love people breeding Corys and things like that. So I was going to mention too. So since we last looked at this tank, Mr. Garami, my wife, actually it's Mrs., but my wife really loves this Garami. It's the only fish other than angelfish I think she can name, honestly. But it decided to wedge itself back behind the heater here with these Nanochromis that hang out in their little, I don't know, they managed to get in their little hut there lately. But they hang out there, and he got his lips wedged in there, and he was completely stuck. And then I don't know if it felt soothing because I got him unstuck, and then you know where I find him? Stuck with his lips stuck in this filter right here again. So I was like, oh, holy cow, Jesus, you crazy fish. So I had to pull him out of there, and when I did that, it definitely, like, it bled even. So yeah, I'm in Seattle, but Aquatic Arts is in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been Irish Hamster Man. That's interesting that you're saying that you're sad that you're over in Europe and so you can't get a hold of Aquatic Arts. I have been thinking of trying to team up with someone like Petra or I don't know if you guys know who they are, but they're very high end, or aquarium glazer. Finding somebody who would want to pair up for my European folks. And then I could do an episode just for the European folks and see if there's anybody. I mean, obviously I would say don't send me fish, like, or maybe they would feel like they have to because I'm showing off their goods, but I don't know. I really don't endorse people very often, like officially, and Aquatic Arts is the only one other than Lucas Brett's that I have officially really endorsed. So, yeah, I mean, I really like the Wet Spot also, but they're a little big to deal with sometimes as far as customer service goes. Also, look who's back in the tank. If you saw the last live stream, he just needed a salt dip. He needed a salt dip and a night in some minerality, some water with some minerality, and he perked back up. He's back with his buddies. So all 3 males, adult males, are back in here, cruising around together. And then there's a couple juvenile males in there. And females. See, they're all hanging out back there. So yeah. Let's see here. What else are we dealing with? Does anybody have any problems? Any concerns? Any amazing stories? Any things like that? If you have a tank with a pregnant fish, you can put some of that tank water into a tank you want to start breeding. Yes, that is totally true. Novice Aquarius, I actually did a story about how I do that with, their lights aren't even on yet, but with Sergio. Sergio releases so many hormones. Angelfish, in particular, release a lot of hormones. And they'll trigger cribs, they'll trigger Corydoras, they trigger a lot of other fish into spawning. And so, yeah, Sergio right here, he's trigger warning, seriously. I can add less than half a gallon of this water from this 40-gallon tank because he has these 3 females. He must have some crazy testosterone in his system because I've never had a male angelfish. He's 8 inches tall, and he's 3 years old now, maybe going on almost 4 actually. But I've never had a male angelfish that's able to spawn with 3 different female angels at the same time in the same tank. I mean, like, he will trade them. This one has her ovipositor out. So tonight, remember how the last live stream I said that she was cleaning up a leaf to lay on? So this Aponogeton or that heater will be where she, or the flow vent here, the outflow inflow setup for the hang off the back. Oh, and then I'd mention this too, was that same Popeye issue that we had with in the other tank, or drop C, whatever you want to call it. This female crib had it over 6 months ago. She's usually really shy, so you probably haven't seen her in a while, like not up close, but you can see how her eye healed actually afterwards. It's permanently kind of disfigured, but I caught it and was able to treat her with just salt baths, pretty long ones. I kind of pushed the limit, honestly. And I treated her with those and some antibiotics, and also some low acidic water. So I'd put her in the salt dip. I know you can shock a fish that way, so you got to be careful. But the cribs happen to be pretty forgiving, especially the domestic poultry variety. Here's a big old well, there he went, but a big old that's the same reticulated Siamese algae eaters as they get bigger. That's a full-grown one, at least 6 inches. But yeah, this tank water definitely. I've done videos where I said something's in the water, so to speak. So yeah, but I love my Sergio. He's my favorite angel I've had. He's just got a personality that doesn't quit. The lights, I need to get better lights on this tank, but because I wanted to show how pretty he is. Come on, Sergio. He's just got such beautiful bronze, and he's really got that Manuka Puru kind of look to him, where you see the red bronze kind of, I don't know, copper even, color on his crest on his head. And then he's got the German smoky tail, smoky tail kind of thing. No veil or anything like that on it. But his son is downstairs, and I think you guys know his son, Prince. His son's Prince, and then Vanity is the daughter of the yellow one in there. And so, yeah, it's kind of incestuous, but fish breeding, what are you gonna do? So then we got Vanity and Prince in here, and because Blues had recessive traits from the generation before parents, she didn't get any of the veil tail, really. She got a little, but he just got crazy beautiful lineage. Unfortunately, the mother's gone. Hey, Lipstick Goby. So Sergio's little son, who bumps his head a lot on the glass. I don't know what that's about, but he does it a lot. So yeah, that's way too close. Stop it, phone. Mess. Look at my freaking mess. I need to clean. That's what happens when you can't lift anything. Things just start going downhill. Let's see here. 14-year-old Loach. Wow, that's pretty cool. Buffering on, folks? Am I being slow? Sorry, guys. Yeah, if you haven't yet, if you'd like to hit the like button, go ahead. If you're like Alex, you sang that was awful. You're not entertaining. You're not cute. You're not funny. Then smash that dislike button. Just smash it. Yeah. Ooh, this is something that I have looked at many a times. And that's snails in mulm in my dirty water bucket. And it looks like a brain or coral or something, but I've always thought that there'd be some art project you could do by masking off certain areas. Just like you do with spore prints and mushrooms. But yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at the little loaches. Everybody likes the little loaches. And like I said, this one's about you guys. What questions we got going on today? Anything? Usually I feel like I miss all these questions. Oh, here we go. Abigail. Do you have any websites that show pictures of lots of different nanofish? I have mystery fish I'm trying to ID. I want to get them to spawn because they're beautiful. Well, our Facebook group, we can try to help you out for sure, Abigail. Facebook group has the same name as this channel. There's I don't know, 700 of us or something like that in there, and we are always willing to take on a mystery challenge. We got a couple smarties in there that are on the case, but I would say that like Seriously Fish or Aquasabi, Fish Base, those kind of places you can also look. Thank you, Muppet. You rock. Thank you for the link. You guys can see that if you recall when I bought these guys, they were not even, I don't know, not even half an inch long. They were the smallest I've ever purchased. These, and they were only $6. But now I've got them feeding on the biofilm. A lot of people are like, ew, why is your tank all molmy and gross? I can't see your fish. It's gross. Like, what's the point? Well, this is the point. And the aeration level is like 1,000,000 in here. I'm letting the water sink down again so that they feel like it's actually the dry season. Because in their streams at this age, they would have hatched and it would be going towards dry season. And at the age they're finally kind of independent and stop sleeping in a pile by design. I mean, they'll sleep in a pile their whole life cycle just because they're a very communal fish. But they sleep in little piles when they're babies for safety and maybe to conserve energy with heat. Like they rotate who's on the outside. And they're really cute when they do it. But you can see they kind of comb over things together as a search party looking for little creatures. And what they'll do is they'll scare them out of the substrate. Watch this. So they'll scare them out of the substrate. And what they really like me to do, sometimes, here's a little trick for nanofish in your tank. If you have a well-cycled tank, and I mean really well-cycled, like several years old. Ooh, I think I see a planaria. Where is it? Did I get it? Yep. There we go. Got it. So when you have a tank that's several years old and cycled, just do this. Get a turkey baster and just hit that substrate. Blast it. And see if some food debris comes up or whatever. Also, it's a good time, like I said, you can catch planaria. See that dripping down? It's going to fall back out of the... But I just wanted to show you guys. I'm not going to catch all the planaria in my tank, clearly. But this is a painstaking way you could do that if you really want to. You can really get in there. Usually what I do if I want to get rid of planaria in a hurry without meds in a tank like this or something is I'll just put in some food and then here's... Oh, no! Really? Come on out. These guys are so silly. He followed the planaria into the frickin' tube. Did he come out? Did you guys watch him come out? But now I want the planaria up and gone. But yeah, these guys will eat planaria. So that's handy. I want to make sure he's not in the tube part. Hold on, let's open that and see. They're sneaky that way. These little loaches, they can hold on with their front fins to slick surfaces. If I don't know if anybody saw... hold on, guys. I got to set you down for a sec. Tozawa Tank's video at the San Francisco Bay Aquarium. but he went and he filmed some really cool fish that are fish that I can get for my tanks. And I think, I might attempt it actually this year. I've never done it. I've never done it as an adult. I did it as a kid, and because of that, I feel like I had some rose-colored glasses, if you know what I mean. By that, I mean I probably had no idea how good or bad of husbandry I was facilitating, but I would go down to the beach, which growing up, living in Seattle, the salt water's always 5 minutes away or so, and the freshwater's always 5 minutes away or so. We're surrounded by, we've got a lake and then salt water. See, guys, I'm catching all these planaria right now while we're just sitting here, and also kicking them up for the little guys to eat. They're gonna eat all the little, teeny tiny stuff is what these panda loaches want. They'll eat the planaria, but you'll watch them chew them a few times, and they kind of have to be in a feisty mood, and they'll go for them. But that's the only thing I can actually see with my eye, with my naked eye, that they eat that I know of. Other than that, they only eat like biofilm and stuff that's too small for me to even know what they're eating. But whatever it is, it lives in the substrate, and frequently I can kind of catch it and get it going for them when I do this. Also, you'll see, let's zoom in after I kick it up real good for a sec here. You see how they're all swarming in here? I know it's kind of cloudy now, but so when I kick this up, we're gonna get rid of the planaria. Nah, I can't even make high. But see here, see all those little tiny nematodes and detritus worms? They just love that. So will your cories. So if you have a nano tank, like skip feeding for 3 days, and on the second day, get a turkey baster and just blast some water blasts into the substrate a few times, and then walk away, and then do it again in a few hours. But you'll see that they don't really like the planaria on the whole, but they're kind of like a cat. They'll pounce on it once in a while, and they'll eat the really tiny planaria and the little those little white flecks, whatever they are. Under the microscope, they're all sorts of different little critters that we've looked at in videos past, and that I think with the winter coming and just being indoors more, we'll be sure to have more videos on microfauna and microflora. So yeah, let's see here. 1 million attack of the murder beans, angels down. Let's see here. Do any of you know if planaria can eat shrimp fry? I'm assuming autocorrect. Yeah, they can. Everyone makes a really big deal about it, and the bigger deal with planaria is when they make a nest. They're like vampires. They're not that big of a deal until they've established a nest. Hold on, guys. This light's been on the fritz, so I had turned it out. But we'll go up to this tank now. Oh, we got some really tiny little fish in here right now. Well, they're just antlers, I guess. I thought it looked like it could be something else, though. The light on this tank has me a little dumbfounded. The nitrites and everything are around 30 parts per million in here. And you can see the moss has just, it's insane. It's taken off. Every corner of this tank has moss just coming out. And the Potamogeton gayi, that's another plant that I love that doesn't get much attention. It's not big in the hobby. People think of it as a weedy grass, but look, it's got a beautiful gold line down the center of every other leaf, and it's either gold and lime green or bronze and red. Like in CO2, it gets even crazier. This is not high tech or anything. And it just kind of looks nice when you get that. It's a stem plant. You can cut it. It's a grass. And you can put the pieces back together like this, so there's a bunch of them, see them? And then you can get kind of a dense thicket of it growing, or you can float it like guppy grass, but it's just one that I feel like nobody uses really, and I've been trying to push on the YouTube world for the last few years. I also did treat myself with that big old super chat that we got, and I got I got me some crypt. This is the newest tissue culture from ADA, from Aqua Design Amano, and this is the red Cryptspiralis, and they used to have red Cryptspiralis tiger, and now they have the red and the tiger, and then they have a tiger red. So they have a few different variations. So this is just the Spiralis red variegated, which I've never seen a crypt that I can think of labeled as variegated, but it might be a translation issue. I don't know, but it's pretty. I love these when they're that size and they're dark like that. They're gonna turn into a pretty special plant usually. But we got another one up here in super duper low tech. I've found with a lot of crypts, literally sticking them in sand or really low tech helps. Also, look, more planaria. Just today is planaria day, I guess. Well, it's that and the fact that I haven't fed anything in the tanks for a few days. So everybody's getting desperate and coming out of the woodwork. But remember when I showed you guys the size of the egg sacs on the baby plecos the other day? So they haven't eaten. They don't need to eat. In fact, adding food to the water would just muck it up. It would just spoil it. So you can see some of them are almost done with their egg sacs. And you can see this one is actually pooping. A little clear kind of poop. Which is just pure protein from his egg sac. Ooh, this is a shrimp that is not up to my standards. He's got a really pattern rather than a Santa pattern. So I'll have to catch him and put him down into the tank that we were just looking at. Also, here's some of the green jades that were born. They don't look quite like their parents, but they're still young, so I don't know. Maybe they will eventually. But yeah, so let's look at these same little guys from the other side. And you really don't see their yolky. I mean, you see it because they're translucent, but you don't see that ball like you did before just 2 days ago. So that's the big change that occurs. And any day now they'll be able to actually eat whatever they want. Their stomach will connect. Right now their stomach isn't even connected. It's just, I mean, they don't have a stomach. They have like a straight GI. It's like a poop chute. And then, oh no, one of my rice fish is dead. That's no good. Oh man. Which one is it? Don't tell me it's the male that had the yellow tail that I love, who was perky and happy the other day. Oh no, it's not a rice fish. Okay. Alright, we gotta get him out of there. Put him in. Ow, I just dropped a jar on my foot. So we got that out of there. Up here too, the duckweed's getting a little special up in here. Need to take care of that. So we'll take, I don't want to make you guys sick. I'm done with the zoom in thing. Sorry guys, I forgot. Stop zooming in, Alex. You're making us puke. But yeah, that was a bummer to find. Pea puffers still look like they're doing okay. So now we kind of got to do a spot check in here. This tank has just become overgrown with algae. It's 2 years now. It's at 2 years according to the date on the side. And it's just coral, and it's not even much coral, honestly. It's mostly dead snails that have just accumulated and then been crushed over time, like by the puffers in here and stuff. But in here, had shrimp, and the sparkling gouramis definitely took care of those. But look at all this hair algae. I don't like it. It's not It's not what I'm going for. We've also got the bladder wart, which is like a Venus flytrap. It actually, the little bumps on this plant, this spiky looking one, the really thin one, those little pods actually are little cups that eat little crustaceans in the water. There's a sparkling gourami right there. Why is everyone pooping? I haven't fed anybody. So see, they have things to eat in a tank all day long. They're fine when you don't feed things for a while. And then these are also my prime time males. Yet again, color being washed out because of live stream, but this guy's full on rainbow with nice red fiery colors. He's got that dorsal that I want and the black outline. The thing he doesn't have the best of is the tiger stripes, but I'm leaving him because he's got those genes, and these otherwise do have good tiger stripes right here. See, he's got the set of alternating stripes and a really killer dorsal. I probably should just roll with that guy, but I kind of like diversity in the line. And I've also got a 3-prong lyre tail, which I've never had before. See how the spade tail, I grew it out really big, and now it's splitting on this one male into 3 pieces. And I'm curious to see if I take him out and bring him down here and get rid of the 2 males that are in here, if I can breed that trait out too. So I don't know if anybody has successfully gotten a 3-prong breed out on a guppy. I'd like to know that. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've ever seen that. In this tank, no CO2's been running on it. You know, they've got that big CO2 tank, the 20-pounder over there. All the water started to laziness, and then I was like, you know what? I'll follow the natural evaporation cycle thing. And this tank, heater's kicking on. People are getting cold in here. I mean fish. Fish are getting cold in here because they're clinging by the heaters. I keep one of those heaters that keeps things at 78 in this tank, and then I have one of the pro level heaters, but that way I can use 2 of them. It's a little cheaper. And also, remember the baby cribs? Not so baby anymore, are they, guys? So we've got about 8 cribs in here now. We've got the peacock gudgeons, the 5 of them, and then 2 in the cold water, which surprises me. They're up in the 65-degree water. Actually, it got down to 61 degrees last night, that water. So it's a bit of an experiment. I'm willing to allow them to pass away. I hate to say it like that. I mean, I'll try to stop it if I notice them, you know, not eating or drifting on their side or something obvious that's like a bad sign. But yeah. Christine Kaiser says, I have freshwater bumblebee gobies. They are cute, but they do not like each other. No, they don't. They tend to be territorial, and they live in, you know, freshwater streams where they're oftentimes the only freshwater species that's a true freshwater species, you know. A lot of times they'll have something like, what are they called? Smudge. That's not what they're called. Hold on. Let me think what they're called. Oh, but I forgot to tell you guys where I was going with the Tazawa Tanks video. If you saw his video at the San Francisco Aquarium, you saw then the little lump suckers, which look like little puffers, like rocky puffers or something, and they're really cute. And yeah, they're cold salt water. So I'm wondering if I could get the cold salt water fish and bring them up to my driveway and go get water every few days, like while I'm playing with them, and then release them when I'm done. You know, that's the wonder. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Mr. What's in the Cooler. Also, somebody messaged me, I'm not going to say who it is, you know who you are, about, hey, Rico Di Gallo, about doing a graphic design, a logo for them, and I would love to do that. I'm gonna give them a call either tonight or tomorrow. I just wanted to let you know that I didn't forget you. I didn't not see you. I know what's up. And I see so many people who have joined the channel, and I really appreciate it. I of course want feedback. If you guys are ever feeling like I'm not working hard enough to merit membership and things like that, I would really love just to know, hey, Alex, X, Y, or Z, I feel like we've been missing. Like, you can be honest with me. Because it's going to help all of us in the long run. It doesn't help anyone to be like, oh, it's fine, I just can't afford it right now. Like, and on the flip side of that, if you can't afford it right now, please don't. Go spend it on your family or some food, or, I mean, whatever it is you got to do. Some fish if your mental health needs it. I mean, I totally get it. But I just wanted to say that because I see a lot of folks in here with memberships, which is flattering, and I really love to see that. But I just wanted to make sure that that was the case, because I know I'm somebody right now who's transitioning where I'm trying to do this more full time, and selling my plants. Like this tank here, I have a bunch of species spawning and breeding, and then plants, and so I can make a couple hundred out of this tank in a month sustainably, no problem. Probably make $1,000 out of it if I butchered the tank and had enough people buying. Especially aquascapers and things with some of these small plants that are harder to find species. But I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I want to just kind of have a nice lush tank also. So, yeah. And some people were like, "You're never gonna get that blackbeard algae out. Like, you better do something about this tank." And just wanted to show you guys that I can't even find any of it in here anymore. And it's been that way. And people are like, well, what did you use? What chemical? A couple of people have private messaged me. I didn't use any chemical, guys. I watched the video that gets a lot of complaints where people are like, you don't need to spend 26 minutes telling me about how algae photosynthesizes for me to know how to kill blackbeard algae. And I'm like, well, actually, I do. Otherwise, you won't get why it keeps coming back and why the chemicals aren't working, or why they work for a month and then you get it again or whatever. But what I appreciate about all you come and watch the live streams is I know you guys are all the kind of folks who would just come over and hang out with me in real life. You guys would just chat and we could just have a good time and talk fish, look at the fish. Figure things out, and you guys want to know how, why, how it works, and all that. Joseph, how's it going, brother? Good to see you, man. I totally agree. Laying low, only watching fish-related media tonight for mental health. Yes, that's exactly how I started this stream, was saying I'm challenging everyone here to not go on to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, What's Up, or app, or I don't know, all those things you kids use, your newfangled bob and boom boo boo computers. Just let's, and it's fine. I mean, I get wanting to check and see what's going on in the world, but if it's hard on you, if you are not if you're in a mood that you wouldn't want to be around your grandmother in, like if you're just in a foul mood and you're saying things that are you have hate and anger in your heart, don't feed into the media, seriously. And everybody has this opinion lately where they say like, oh, it's the mainstream media is trying to divide us and this and that. And well, we let them. I mean, and it's, the other thing is now people think that they're getting the truth from whatever, QAnon or Antifa sources or whatever you want to call it. Like on the right and the left you have it, and you have it also from mainstream media. But and I probably just demonetized and blacklisted this stream. But I'm just saying that like the point is that if millions of people are on the same vlog as you or the same channel, it's mainstream, guys. it's already mainstream. They have a power agenda. That's just how it goes. So just let's focus on nature. We know that nature doesn't have an agenda. You can't coax nature into doing anything it doesn't naturally do. You just have to, it's with like water, you have to go with its path and lay down and play dead as you go over the rapids rather than fighting it. If you tense up, you're gonna break yourself. And I think emotionally and spiritually we're gonna do that same thing as a country. So let's just lay back tonight a little bit if we can. I challenge you. Spend some time with a loved one or your critters, or both. It'd be cool if you could do both. But I mean, for me, I can just stare at an angelfish and just, something to consider. You look at them and you look at their eyes and you think, well, why do they have pigment in their eyes? Why would they need that? Why does their eye rotate completely on a axis around the pupil? And then, I mean, you see that? You see how it rotates? That's very different than our eye. Why? Our eye is a free-floating gyroscope kind of thing in a muscle. And you can see just how the scales fall differently, how the iridophores of blue and the light play off the tail. And in UV light, you know that means that they see this fish as this big. Its enemies do. And that these lights that it's reflecting, it casts that off, and it looks like a disco ball. I mean, all these other plants, they're speckled with the light from it to other fish. So I challenge you to think about what they're thinking about. Like I said, I still haven't gotten anything to take care of these worms. There we go. That's like the worst, horrible shot, but the best shot also, because I'm going to have to treat this whole tank. I don't know where they got worms. Nothing in here's that new. But this poor guy, has definitely got them. And you can see he's got his ovipositor. It's actually not an ovipositor. It's like a little gonopodium. But he wants to spawn. They've been able to spawn, surprisingly. See, she's full of eggs, too. They've been able to spawn with the worms. They spawned once since they had worms. It's just all the local stores and online, 2 sources that I trust, were out. So Father Fish was going to send me some dewormer. Also, pea puffers, yes, they are a communal fish. And oh, thank you, mods. I don't know what was going on, but I trust whatever you guys did. I trust it was a good idea. So, thank you guys. Much appreciation. So, the other thing that I've been noticing on these fish that I'm curious about is what past evolutionary stage was it useful for them to have genes for red coloration? I mean, it could have been all the way back when they were, little small organisms, like some little lizard type thing. And then they evolved into fish. But it makes me wonder. The other thing, look at the little tiny gentle organs on a fish that we overlook. And the little teeny sensory things, their lateral line. See the little thing that looks like stitching on a baseball? Each one of those is an organ. That whole thing is an organ. And for instance, when we look at this lateral line on a pistogramma, it means mystical or broken lateral line. A pistogramma does. And if you look at them, they have one that's here, kind of like this. See, they've got another piece of an old residual spot of it, and then theirs comes and meets it. But some fish have several lateral line spots. There's actually sturgeon and catfish that look almost like hexagonal shaped, and you'll see on the edges of them that they have 5 or 6 sensory lines on them rather than just the one main one on either side down the length of their body. But I don't know, it's just stuff like that I encourage you try to take a deep dive and think about. So here, fishy, that is the most. I mean, that is one of the biggest compliments I could ever receive, and so thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I hope your son doesn't end up like me in what I've had to go through or what I've put myself through, being such a curious cat that sometimes the curious cat gets killed. I'm lucky that I haven't a few times, but I mean, now that I'm through it, I'm grateful for it. But yes, I hope that, as I suppose, as somebody with some sway or influence, because I have a platform with some of y'all watching, I would want a child to be able to tune in, a teenager, not a child, but to be able to tune in, and hopefully, the things that we've had to learn the hard way, we can pass on to folks, and they can learn it. Just skip to the interesting part, right, guys? That's what. What am I going to use for dewormer, John? I'm going to use levamisol. It's a hardcore dewormer, but then I don't have to worry about getting it into the fish's mouth. So there's water-soluble dewormers and antiparasitics, and then there's non-water soluble. And the problem with the non-water soluble ones, I mean, one good thing is that you can put it in food and it's not going to dissolve out of the food and weaken while it's waiting to get eaten by the fish. Dun dun. I feel like this guy's going to turn his head and it's like that squirrel meme, that turns his head and it, or the gopher. And so the way freshwater fish exist, the way their bodies are set up, all freshwater fish, they have a really cool trick that we don't have. By the way, I'd love to breed these loaches at some point. Those are I don't know, they have like 20 bands, but they're just called the multi-barred, sometimes border, but dwarf multi-bar loach. And then we've got my Pandagaras. They usually comb through. Oh, here's another Logonandra carolensis, speckled or golden. And can you guys make out that kind of gold? Like, it's a metallic gold, actually. It's not anything, it's not just yellow, but it's actually like a metal looking plant. But yet again, these leaves have been up for 6 months, over 6 months. And wherever their algae has grown on them in the past, things have kind of chewed on that algae and kind of pulled at it and ripped off parts of the leaf. This leaf is still photosynthesizing well, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to cut it yet. But like this one here is at a stage where I don't know if it's draining more energy than it's helping, where the plant's trying to mend it. But yeah, so like I was going to say, the really interesting thing about all freshwater fish is that they don't drink water. They don't need to drink water. When they run water through their gills, look at the little, can you see the little sensory organs, the odontodes on this Danio male? He's got whiskers. They're very, very skinny, but if he turns again, hopefully you'll see that. Check it out. He's got little whiskers, which makes him a cyprinid. If you can, it's hard to see on a live stream, but let's see if he'll turn again. But they suck up water through their gills, through osmosis, and through their esophagus. They don't actually gulp it down. They don't need to drink the water. And it's because their blood is saltier. Just like when you sweat or when you cry and your tears are salty, fish have a certain body chemistry that requires salt. Salt and potassium are how we send nerve signals, right? In living things. Potassium ion channels is what we call them. And so you need that network to fire. See his little whiskers? You can see the one on the left right now. That's kind of a rare thing to be able to see, honestly, on these small Danios. These ones are some Lake Inle. Danios. These are the Ascopae ones that sometimes get called other things, but the big difference is that they're purple on their back, and then instead of having stripes all the way back, it starts to turn to spots. So I'm probably pronouncing that totally wrong. But then we also have in this same tank, we had the Shanensis, or Lake Inle Shan region Danio, chilling too. But yeah, so they're able to suck that up. But what that means, and this is a tetra that I've just never been able to catch, and he is old, real old. Look how beat up he looks. The part that when you treat them with the anti-parasites or antibiotics, everyone worries about getting it in their mouth. Well, you are getting it in their system if it's a water-soluble antibiotic. And that's both good and bad. I mean, you need to think about that. But that goes into consideration when you buy certain kinds. But you can't just assume all antibiotics are going to be the same. Simple Jack, what's going on? I see you. I hear you. I understand the struggle is real. And I've got Dr. Pepper cream soda this evening. Yeah. All right. Man, I love those veils. I need to get them a bigger tank when we move. I want to get them a 75. And then these are the plainest of the Lucas Bretts. Remember how spotted and rainbow colored the ones I showed you guys just a little earlier were? These guys have like nothing going on. So I'm trying to, now at this point, I'm trying to get them to nothing. This tank, I'm trying to get it back to the base color Endler of yellow. Just a nice buttercream yellow Endler to start over with, kind of. I'm always working towards something, and then I'll see a trait, and I'll be like, oh, I need another tank to put it in. This guy is begging so hard for food. The lipstick goby. Aquatic Arts is where I got these guys from again. And why won't it focus on you? But they crack me up. I might need to feed them. So, something to notice. Let's see here. When I feed this tank, watch what happens to the worms on the angelfish. Because right now, the reason they're coming out is because they want food. And they're coming out of the fish to smell food. In fact, to get tapeworms and other awful parasites out of humans, we used to make people not eat for a week, and then we would put food on their lip, and we'd at their mouth open. You'd wait for the worm, it's disgusting, to come out, but you'd grab it and you'd just pull it out. Now, this lipstick goby is very different than my Stiphodons. He does not care. He doesn't care. It doesn't need to be biofilm. These guys are meat eaters, and they will eat like clumps of food in the tank. So just know, if you buy these, they're not like the little peaceful gobies. They're actually pretty savage when they're ready to go. And they'll eat baby endlers with no second thought about it. L. Churchill, I've had my pea puffer for 3 days now. He won't take my frozen bloodworms or brine shrimp, or at least that I haven't seen. They are small snails in there. What else could I try feeding? My guess is that, a lot of times people try to feed their fish, and you just don't need to. They're just not hungry. They're stressed. Fish can go a week, 2 weeks without eating as a normal course of their life, of their metabolism in the wild. And most fish anyways. Not fry, but most fish. And I would recommend that be patient with it. I mean, for a few days. It'll eventually probably eat what you give it, but look at the size of this other Siamese algae eater that's still in here too. He's like the girthiest one I have. And then we've got a male pleco in here that's getting nice and flouncy. Yes, he is. Look at that tail. He's my favorite male. He's a blue eye. Albino bristlenose. Sorry, guys. Not holding things steady. Oof. Earthquake. But I would say that ideally, live baby brine shrimp are gonna work. Puffers don't particularly love frozen stuff anyways, unless it has a shell and they're cracking it. Because they can't really tell the difference that much on that. But puffers, yeah, they don't like... They're just, I don't know, they like the hunt. They're like little velociraptors. And if you can get that instinct going in them, a lot of times that'll get them back up. So even like baby brine shrimp would be great. But if you don't have access to that, then I would just hang tight. Don't feed them for a couple days. Don't even offer them food. And then bloodworms they should eat. So bloodworms and snails in the meantime, if those are in there, they will eat them if they have a problem. But it's very common for puffers and pea puffers in particular to have parasites in their stomach, specifically worms, and specifically these little red worms that have gone back up inside the fish. See that? Because now they're going to go meet the food in their stomach. They don't need to come out and try to grab food that floats by. It's really gross. But yeah, so that's going on. Little autosynclus in here too. Forgot about him. This is kind of the tank of lost toys. Not to interrupt, but my wife said I was in the bathroom this morning and ordered a Nesco. It was dropped off by the hardware store 2 hours ago. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. She's excited. Oh, nice. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, all dwarf puffers are picky. They want to control you, and you kind of just need... They're like a cat, you know? You kind of just need to put your foot down and be like, well, then you don't get anything. You can meow, and then you can either come in or you can stay outside. But I'm not going to play open and close the door all night long, you know? So you do you as a human, and make them bend to your will. That's what I say with puffers. But yeah, I mean, snails is like ram's horn snails. They really like. Kevin, how's it going? Brian, how's it going? Chevy, I don't know if I said hello, but hello, my dear. Great to have you here. Malta Hijacker, that's a kind of messed up name. What's up with that? Argonite with Imaginarium sand. Yeah, totally. You can mix Carib Sea with Argonite with Imaginarium sand. Imaginarium, whatever the hell it's called from Petco. It's just outsourced. It's usually some other big brand that they just bought and mislabeled it. Or not mislabeled it, relabeled it. It's like generic kind of. And that's the same thing goes on with like Aquarium Co-op. You know, they're getting their Easy Green from, I don't know, some other fertilizer company. Maybe, you know, well, actually I do know who it is, but I won't say that because it doesn't need to be out there. But needless to say, you can still have a decent product that functions well. And that has even been slightly altered from the normal course of action and still works. So I think the pH thing that you're worried about, though, it really depends on the wood. The Imaginarium and the Carib Sea sand, when you got those two things together, you're already going to drop your pH. I would say if it's neutral and you use like a bag of each, you know, a 10-pound bag of each, I'd say a pound per gallon basically will drop you a full point, is from what I've kind of noticed. So if you have 7.0, it's going to drop it to... Oh, I hope you guys can see this. All the peacock gudgeons are coming out slowly. They're back in there too. And then there's two cories. These are cories that don't come out. These are the true black Venezuelan ones that I still have. They're really hard to see though. And they hybridized with a Triliniatus, some of them. But they're shy. So here's one that, check this out. Here's one that's hybridized with the Triliniatus. Really hard to see. I don't know why they're so shy in this tank. They're so bold in all my other tanks. But yeah, so that's a Trilineatus black Venezuelas or Aeneas Venezuelas black hybrid. But yeah, so that'll drop at a point, and then the wood can drop at another point. So, I mean, you're going to be buffering, or I'm sorry, the wood will drop the pH. The other stuff will raise it. That's what I meant to say. It will drop your, it will decrease the level of acidity. I know it gets so confusing because you can say the amount of acids going down is the same thing as the the alkalinity is going up, or you could say the pH is going up. It's so confusing. I'm sorry, guys. I made that harder than it needed to be. But yeah, so your crushed coral, your aragonite, and your various limestones and siltstones frequently 7.0 will hop up, I should say, to 8.0. The wood will drop it to from 7.0 to another to 6.0 if it's strong wood like Malaysian driftwood or manzanita, a big cholla wood piece that is very porous could do that. You know, usually I don't recommend feeding a whole lot, but we've got fish that clearly have been too timid to feed, so I'm gonna feed a little more. Oh, did you see him come? He came and he got it right out of my hand, like literally as I let it go. He hit the surface and got it. The lipstick goby. This has been a fun tank. I mean, here's my betta, one of the bettas. I've got some males and females in here, but they're all this ghostly white with the blue, and they've got black eyes, which is kind of creepy. They remind me of the what are they called? In Minority Report, the things that can see the future, the female sisters, the twins or whatever they're called. I don't know why, but I'm off on a tangent there. So yeah, let's see here. Oh yeah, we're getting close to the likes and the amount of, oh god, dang it. That was fun. Good job, Alex. Good freaking job. Ugh. Actually, that could have been a lot worse. And this looks like crap with all these cords running all the way around, but I didn't really have a good way to set them up right now. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you guys is that in here, let me grab the food again. In here, we've got the rainbow shiners. This water is very cool temperature. Here we've got our peacock gudgeons again, or one of them. There's two in here. They spawned early on, and the babies did not make it. But what I was going to say is that they're in 60-degree water right now, 62-degree water. Colors aren't quite as vivid, but they are there. I mean, they're not like washed out, which usually I've seen in past years if I've let them stay outside long. So I think they're just used to it. I think that it happens slow enough and they're fine. But we're going to wait for the rainbow shiners because I'm actually going to pass on these rainbow shiners to somebody that I'm going to introduce to the channel who is an incredible guy. If you're in a fish club in the US, or for that matter in Europe or Asia even, he has possibly been to your club. But we'll see. Well, I don't know how I'll announce him, but he has been to over 100 nations. He works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or did. I don't know if he still does, but he gets to go, and he also worked for the Peace Corps. And so over the last 30 years, he's just gotten to live his passion, and everywhere he travels for work and for nonprofit stuff, he gets to collect really cool, rare fish, like in places that no one gets to. So like, he has a talk that he gave to the Seattle Aquarium Club about collecting fish in Africa recently, in the region that is controlled by Boko Haram, the terrorist group. And he actually made it into the country where they don't allow Americans to go. He basically showed a picture from his days in the Peace Corps in the early 90s or late 80s and said he needed to get back to find somebody, and somebody knew the picture of the guy from this small village, and they let him through. And it's a crazy story, but he lives in Seattle, and he's got a lot of really cool fish. He's a very private guy, very nice guy, very intelligent guy, and a very funny guy when you get talking to him. So I hope to have him on the channel a fair bit in the coming days, months, whatever. But he specializes in the non-Rift Lake African cichlids, so like the oddball river cichlids in the Sahara and stuff like that. The ones that are not really in the trade even, because they've been at war or way too hard to reach for practical sake. Oh, we have a baby. Where did you come from? Somfong rasbora. That's so strange. We had the 4 adults, which clearly I knew about. They're big. But now, where did it go? But now we've got this baby. It's not a baby. I mean, it's probably 6 months old. Where did you come from? Oh, the fish tank can be an amazing place. When you have a planted tank, the stuff that gets by you sometimes is bonkers. Really is. But yeah, so hopefully he'll talk about that. The other thing is he has licorice gouramis from Brunei and from Papua New Guinea and Borneo and Java and Indonesia, Malaysia, Jakarta, all the fun places. 78, 70. So the panda loaches, they're in 70-degree water. These guys, 77, 78, 78. Everybody's kind of hanging at 70. Oh, 75 up here. I forgot I set this tank a little cooler, because it's rice fish, endlers, a couple random swordtails, and then the pea puffers are in there just as a what can the pea puffers deal with, which I know isn't the nicest thing in the world, but and then all the barbs are hanging out back there. They're usually up in the front, but I scared them bringing the camera. They know the camera means I'm going to be prodding around. But yeah, so I'm giving the guy we've gotten warmer tonight, so it's up to 69 in here. Good. Okay. So that's why the gudgeons are still all colorful. See, they've got their little burrow here. Oh. And this tank should be about 80. No, it's 76. Okay. It's dropping, which is interesting. Oh, but look at that. See, 82 over by the heater. So we need more water moving side to side here. My filters I've allowed to get clogged because all those, all the fish in here, there's so many that are sucking fish, the gobies, those guys, and just endlers. They like the biofilm and algae that I've allowed these things to back up and get all covered. with slicks. And so all the Aufukes, while they can be good, they can clog things up too and cause problems. So it's probably for the best if we don't do that. The other thing, I got some of these Betta Bulbs, just assorted ones from Petco. They were on sale because they were expired. And I just planted them in some of these things. And looks like the onion plant's coming up already. But I'm going to try to grow them immersed, sorry. And there's another one coming up right over there. So we'll see what happens. I planted some in here again too, like we did before, where we had the flowering one, the Ulvaceous Longa and the Longa plumulus. So yeah, let's see here. Am I distracting y'all from the world outside? Something's wrong with the world today. And everything I got, where everybody knows your name. Psychedelic hippocampus. What's up? I was just foaming at the mouth. Do. Hi, honey. How are you? My wife's here, but she's exercising, and I'm not gonna bug her. But I wanted to end on the same note that we started. Golden Convertino, or Holden Convertino. I like that name. I'm gonna step outside. I'm really hot, guys, so I'm gonna step outside, and it's raining cats and dogs out here. Probably. Sun's setting. It's been a rainy day in Seattle. I don't know why they took a house with a view like this, and they made only the view possible from out on the porch rather than any windows in the house. You can't see out. You can only see from that couch anything. They didn't even put windows anywhere on the other side of the building or here, or put bedrooms up here. Is the dumbest thing I've ever seen architecture wise. It's one of those houses where the roof used to be cedar shake on the side of the house too. Alright guys, I probably missed some questions. I'm sorry. I'm gonna scroll down towards the bottom, catch up with where we're at. Okay, I'm at the bottom. If you guys have any last minute questions, feel free right now. We can get them in. I got time for you. You guys are my people. And I want to make sure, like I said, even though we have the new membership system going for the last month and a half now, I want to still answer as many questions as I can, regardless of if or not you are a membership or whatever. So, why is my hair so good? Hair is not so good. My hair is crazy right now. My wife, she's gonna sneak up behind me with scissors and cut it. I know she's going to. She's gonna do it. I had a girlfriend who did that when I was in high school. I had hair down to my belly button, and we were camping, and I may or may not have, well, I'll just say I was sleeping very deeply, and I had hair, like I said, down to almost my belly button. And if you'd pull it straight, but it was kind of curly, wavy, so it was more like this length. And I was skinny, so I wasn't one of the fat dudes with the long hair like I am now. But yeah, so she took frickin' scissors while I was sleeping and just cut right here, big old chunk off. And it was just like, she was stoned, so she was like giggling, like, thought that was the funniest thing since sliced bread. I don't know. The funniest thing since Groucho Marx. Let's go with that. The other thing is, I have those cool old books that Doug sent us of viewer Doug, and I am kind of digging through those right now. The 1964 edition of the really cool fish hobbyist, tropical fish hobbyist magazine. And so I think it'll be really fun to, we're gonna look at some ads, and I think we're gonna actually look at a little bit of graphic design. I know that's totally off base with fish, but that's what I do partially for a living. I mean, that was what I did for most of the time I've had this channel. And so it's interesting, the fonts in the pet hobby were allowed to be the most creative and fun, as well with kind of like nightlife and bars. And so a lot of the things that we saw in that, actually later, it wasn't until the 70s that then big brands started using them. So it's kind of cool to see some of the creativity of kind of like the hippie or psychedelic or Art Nouveau and Art Deco, kind of retro even for the 1960s, old like creative lettering and font schemes that they would do. And as a tattoo artist, that's another thing where I've always been fascinated in that. Alex, have your Gilbert eye bred at all? No, they haven't. In the tank they're in. They did in the little bowl. They had 2 babies. They probably ate all the other ones. I mean, I just left them in there. I left 3 in there, and 2 females and a male. How long should I pull my male guppies to see if females will produce? Are you talking about a sunfish? Or, because, I mean, sunfish, they're so small, they're babies, that sometimes the parents will eat them. Sometimes they'll protect them like a cichlid. And you know, other times they won't even pay attention to them and they'll casually eat some. So it's really a crapshoot. So to ensure that you're getting fry, what you want to do is you want to put them in like a shoebox or a Rubbermaid, shallow, like 2 to 5 inches of water at most, and just an air stone even. You don't even need an air stone. I showed you guys that I kept them without a heater, air stone filter, without even doing water changes, just top-offs. For over a year, I kept them that way, and I didn't feed them either. I just let algae grow and little. I did put seed shrimp in there. I cultured it with seed shrimp, but they grew in there and they did just fine. I would recommend feeding them if you want to breed them more actively. That was more of a test for me. I want to start keeping, like I said, some more local fish. There's a lot of brackish fish that we have in our salt water in the Puget Sound here that actually can be kept in fresh water, but it's got to be 45 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever, 2 to 4 Celsius range, you know? And so that's very cold as far as trying to keep it that cold. So in the dead of the winter, I kind of want to try an outdoor saltwater tank. So that's another thing I'm toying with. I don't know what that would entail. I'm sure I wouldn't want to reconstitute salt from a bag. I'm sure I would need that live plankton that comes from the Puget Sound, where it's warmer than the rest of the ocean, and it wells up into feeding all the life that lives in this inlet. So I would have to go down, which isn't far actually. If I show you guys right now where those lights are, that's the other side of the saltwater. There's a bay here called Salmon Bay. So I could go to where the tree line ends before those lights start. That's a part of town called Ballard out there. Queen Anne Hill's right here, Space Needle's right behind it, and then downtown is right here. You can see some of the buildings actually from right here if you lean out, but of Seattle. But yeah, so right down there I could go collect them. I've seen them. I've seen spiny, all sorts of different stuff, little sticklebacks, sculpins, lots of sculpins, rockfish, little cold water blinny things. Leo, brush it off painter. It was really hot in my tanks. Thank you so much for the super chat, Leo. I appreciate it. Let me turn this back around. Turn around. Actually, I do have a question. It was really hot in my tanks, upwards of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that really bad for my fish? Yeah, usually. Not all fish. I mean, like discus are going to be fine. A lot of tetras will be fine. Lump suckers will be fine. And yeah, a lot of fish will be fine. But for short periods. After that, starts hurting their kidneys, just like you sitting in a hot tub. And what also matters is how high are your nitrates and what your oxygen is. So you need to super saturate that water with oxygen, because the hotter the water is, the less oxygen it holds. In fact, we're actually dealing with that in Seattle right now. Our rivers are 5 degrees warmer than they should be, and the salmon need to catch their breath, literally. They need to re-oxygenate when they've been in the salt water, and we've talked about this in the video, Do Fish Drink Water? Do Fish Pee? We've talked about that, and we talked about the osmosis thing today about meds. And so the salmon, they're getting stuck, and they can't make it all the way up their run because they're not being able to recharge and get that oxygenation back into their tissue so that they can, make the last push. And so they're actually trying to oxygenate the water with these big old pumps right now in some of the main rivers right before the rapids start, or before the fish ladders on the dams and falls. And so yeah, it can be a problem, the oxygenation and the liver damage. So you want to keep your nitrites really low if you're going to run tanks hot. You can run a tank around 86 for ick, and a lot of tropical fish will survive for 2 or 3 weeks. But any longer than 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to have fish starting to die. It shouldn't be like they all die in one day at once, as long as you're watching for the ammonia spikes that can occur with a body in the tank like that. But, I mean, if they survive that spike, if a heater broke or something, you can just let it naturally cool back down. Like, just set the temp to 82 maybe the first day, and then or 84, and then, to 79, and then to 76 again, like every 2 or 3 days. If you want to ease them back down, it might be a little easier on them. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a good night. I hope that you can stay off social media if it's aggravating you or those you love. Put some love back into your tanks, or keep surfing the internets. Also, I'm working on a video of fish that have been to space, and fish that have saved lives in humans. So where we've learned about organ transplants and things like that. So that's something you guys will have look forward to if you're nerdy and look forward to those sort of things, or something to avoid if you think that's boring. You need plant options to thicken up your tub ponds. I'm going to assume you're somewhere warm. I think you already told me this. But essentially, I would say, I mean, if you want something to thicken it up, water hyacinth, if it's legal, that stuff is crazy. Grows like a weed. Don't put it back in the wild. But you can find it at local parks, most hot places, with little ponds and lakes, and its root system gets gnarly. But you could also do frog bit. You could also do water wisteria, spangles, or mosaic plant, which is a Ludwigia. It's Ludwigia mosaicus, I think, maybe. That might not be right, but that's what it used to be called for a while. But in any case, it looks like succulents on water, and it's got like green, yellow, green, dark green, orange, red, like radiating out, and it looks like a center of a sunflower. It's really cool. You've got hyacinth and lettuce. So I would recommend some salvinia. I'd also recommend something with structure down in the water. Yeah, anacris can get huge too. Definitely true. Hornwort's another good one. Guppy grass, if you're trying to spawn things. And also eat nitrates. That will help you do that under the water without that much light. So I would recommend hornwort, guppy grass, water lettuce, water sprite, water wisteria, salvinia, which is floating, red root floaters if you've got highlight. Yeah, and the mosaic plants are really cool. And you can probably sell those for some money if you want to grow them out on your pond. And then also you've got all your bulbs, so you can always plant like a really nice Barclay longifolia. You can get the bulbs for like usually for $10 you can get 4 from pawn stores online. Sometimes like order direct, like pawnstoredirect.com or one of those kind of sites. I don't know the name offhand. I can maybe look for you later. If I come across it and remember to do it, I'll post it. But yeah, and I would say that you could probably just use those bulb plants. You could use Aponegitans too, or Apongetons, however you want to say it. And out of those, I would definitely recommend Longiplumulus for a pond. Can get 3 or 4 feet, so if you got a deep pond, that works. Ulvasis is the species I'd recommend if you don't have a deep pond. And then Madagascar lace is another good one, or Crispus, or Crispulata, or Subulata. Any of those are fine if you just want some structure and reeds and things in there. But I mean, you can also, if you're living somewhere in an area in the United States, for instance, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, California, you can also go get cattails and things just like that, and hopefully that will help. Community interested in helping pair my betas for my breed in the next week or so. Community interested in helping pair my bettas for my breed. I don't know what that, I'm sorry, the wording on that is too vague for me. I don't know what you're, help me help you. Jerry, how's it going, man? It's good to see you. Good to see you. There is almost 2 hours of content now. You can go back and gaze upon. But yes, we are winding this down. And while I wait for the last question here, I wanted to thank everybody. Thank the super chatters. Thank the members of the channel. And thank everybody for being so civilized, so positive. Such a... and civilized has nothing to do with what you wear or what technologies you possess. It is a mindset of love and caring, and it is not a paternal or imperialistic thing as it has been meant to be in the past. I'm saying that from an emotional standpoint. So yeah, and thank you, Muppet. Somebody can tell me later what the person in the chat was saying. I like to know just so I can handle anybody having some problem saying like, who was that? I got to deal with that, and then I can kind of look into it and make sure it's nobody that I actually do know that said something. But it looks like it's someone just hopped in here and wanted to cause problems, and you guys dealt with it great, I'm sure. Robert, thank you also. And Holden, also, great questions, guys. Really cool. Oh, political nonsense. Okay. Yeah, well, we're trying to avoid too much nonsense. Unless you're going to try to be positive and unify people, take it somewhere else, basically. Yeah, so have a good night. Enjoy your fish. Enjoy your family. Enjoy nature, plants. And just think about them. I mean, try to think from their point of view. If it's a plant, try to think from a plant's point of view. Just meditate tonight for a little while. I really encourage you to do that. Our country, our world really needs some non-venomous energy going out there. And it needs it going, caring, whether you pray, whether you meditate, whether you just think that smiling makes you happy in the end of the day more often than if you're frowning all day. Whatever you want to call it, I just want to encourage you guys to pass it forward in a happy, positive way tonight. And whatever comes in the next few days could be silly. So less silly when people get hurt, but hopefully that doesn't happen too much. All right, guys. Well, I don't know how to end this other than trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents, no pool, no pets, I ain't got no cigarettes, but 4 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. I know every engine, I know every train, all of the children and all of their names. Every lock that ain't locked when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, room to rent 50 cents. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the fish. I know I jumped all over. There's like 3 verses I combined in that song. All right, guys, if you know that song that I started with some Roger Miller, it's actually Woody Guthrie and another person, not Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger and another person who wrote that first song some 70 odd years ago, right after World War II, when we were hopping boxcars. And then that song is a Roger Miller. I don't know who wrote it, but check it out. Some old country that I think even people who like hip hop and stuff would find funny lyrics and just relaxing tonight. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks, mods. Thanks, super chatters. Good night.